Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, the 29th day of April. Holy cow, this month is almost done.
Crazy.
It is National Peace Rose Day. Not Pete Rose, Peace.
Peace
P-E-A-C-E,
Rose.
Peace Rose.
Okay.
National Shrimp Scampi Day. Easy for me to say. National Denim Day. And National Zipper Day. It's good that those two things kind of come together because denim and zippers kind of go hand in hand.
They sure do.
You know it took 50 years to invent the zipper?
I know now.
Yeah, it took them a long time to figure that out. I figured it out right away, but it took them a while. Coming up in the program, we've got a really cool guy, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Bob Giles, and the book is out. It's called When Truth Mattered, the Kent State Shootings 50 years later. The anniversary of that is coming up, so it's on May 4th. So his book, I believe, is out today. We're going to chat with him all about it coming up in a bit. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A study by Sleep Standards found this lockdown is affecting the sleep habits of 77% of people. Mm-hmm. I would be one of them people.
Yep.
The other day, we were up so late. Our daughter stopped by for whatever reason in the middle of the night with a whole bunch of friends.
Right.
And they were making all kinds of noise and ruckus, and then we were up until the wee hours of the morning. So I was like, what? Why don't we just go to bed? Anyway, if you'd like to read the study, I have it in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
This is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. Smugglers hid some cocaine worth more than €1 million in a consignment of protective face masks. So like the things everybody's ordering. Officers found the 14-kilogram haul in a Polish-registered van in an attempt to enter the UK through the Channel Tunnel. The driver, a 34-year-old Polish national, has been arrested. Ian Hansen, Border Patrol, said it was despicable to think that drug smugglers would try to exploit the coronavirus situation.
Are they shocked, though? I mean...
No. Face masks have been held pending checks by regulators. The driver is being questioned. He's in custody. Says here, the seizure is further evidence of the way criminal networks are attempting to exploit the COVID outbreak to their own ends, covering this load of drugs with what seemed to be vital protective equipment, thinking they're, oh, hey, face masks, go through quick. No, they still checked, and they are...
It's a good thing they did.
Yeah. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs. Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Richard Gere is in the news. He and his wife welcomed their second child, a baby boy. They tied the knot in 2018 after dating for 4 years. He is 70 years young, by the way.
Holy cow.
She is 37. So there you go. That's quite a difference. Nothing wrong with that. Do what you want to do. I married an older woman. Heidi's way older than me.
Almost barely a year.
A year and like 2 months. Well, Tiger King is a big hit for Netflix. It wasn't the most viewed program or movie in the first quarter of this year. That title goes to Spencer Confidential. We watched that, too.
We did?
It's a Netflix film starring Mark Wahlberg. Don't you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Mark was in that. They say it was viewed 85 million times. Tiger King, by the way, 64 million views. Love is Blind came in third with 30 million views. Netflix counts a household as having viewed a title if it was watched for at least 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So if you watch something for 2 minutes and then you go, this
That's
is
not
good. They still
right.
count
how
that you
many
watched
things
it.
I started? I'm like, I can tell this is going to be awful, and I turn it off.
I know, because you always tell me to change the channel.
Oh
You're like, this is dumb. Just moving on. So,
That's ridiculous.
There's a different formula that measures things for other channels, but that's the one that they use. It's going to do it for your big screen, little screen report, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now your scoop of the day. It comes your way courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Research shows people who make their bed every day are more likely to sleep better. That's kind of weird.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I sleep a lot better when the bed has been made.
See, it doesn't matter to me at all.
Yeah, it
I
matters.
come down,
to me.
as long as I have a bed, I'm good to go. And even if I don't, I'm probably still good to go. I fell asleep standing up once, and
Yes,
I'm
you
not
have.
even kidding. Hopefully, you're comfortable with wherever you're sheltering in place. Oh, by the way, I'm not a fan of this story. I'm just telling you. But here are the details. A study from Harvard says some periods of social distancing may be necessary all the way into the year 2022.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So, they're not saying everything, but they're saying there are some things that are probably not going to get back to normal until a couple years go by. So, I don't have a link to that study, and even if I did, I wouldn't click it because I don't like that. I just want to go back to normal.
I do too.
I'm not even saying
everybody.
I'm not even saying that was good. I just want to get back to that. It was better. Quarantined humans are passing the time playing games. Apparently, the March 29th issue. Let me think here. It says the week of March 29th. Okay, that has nothing to do with issues. Worldwide, people downloaded over 1.2 billion mobile games, 50% higher than a typical week. Survey of 3,000 gamers found that 70% said they were spending more time gaming. 39% said they were spending more money on gaming. So a lot of people playing games. I haven't seen you do Candy Crush in a while.
I have Candy Crush. Yeah.
But I haven't seen you play that in a while. Now, I do see you decorating some room on some... What is that all about? Is that a game?
It is.
What's it called?
I can't even think of what it's called.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're on there a lot. I can tell you that.
I like to do that.
Police in Massachusetts said a goat that was found wandering outside a liquor store was safely reunited with its owner. After getting a call, animal control found the goat curled up behind a UPS drop-off box, apparently confused and exhausted.
Aww.
So that's really sad to hear that. Last week, Apple announced the new iPhone SE. There's some people who were excited about this. There's others that were kind of mocking it online, but it's a new lower-cost iPhone. Starts at $399. A lot of their phones are closer to like $1,000. But it's got the same basic shape and look as the iPhone 8, which means it has a 4.7-inch screen. And some are excited because they're like, hey, now that's within reach. I can get that. And there's others going, why are you guys putting out new phones right now? Really? Like, that's the most important thing to worry about? But I also understand if they've got these phones ready to go and ready to
Well,
ship.
and honestly, if there are people who do need a phone,
that's
at
true.
least iPhone
Absolutely.
has an inexpensive option now for them.
Inexpensive-er. I still...
Well, yeah.
Is
but
that
as far
a
as
word?
a phone, that is inexpensive. I mean...
I don't think the thing I said is a word. It is your scoop of the day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Peck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Our guest today is Robert Giles. He's the author of a new book, When Truth Mattered, The Kent State Shootings 50 Years Later. First of all, Mr. Giles, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Fine, how are you? And thank you for inviting me to talk about When Truth Mattered.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on here. Now, let's talk a little bit about your background so people understand where this book is coming from. You've got a little bit of experience in the journalism world, don't you?
I was a journalist and mostly an editor for 40 years, and during the time of Kent State, I was managing editor of the Akron Beacon-Journal, which is about 12 miles from the Kent State campus, so that was really a local story for us.
And during the time that you were there, you also won a Pulitzer Prize, which I think is certainly worth mentioning as well. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. The Pulitzer Prize was for our coverage of Kent State.
When Truth Mattered, I love the title because it's good to know that at a point truth did matter. And it seems like nowadays people are more concerned about being the first to report it instead of the one to get it reported most accurate, aren't they?
Well, that's part of the problem, and speed is one of the issues that journalists have to contend with. Speed used to be a major competitive element in covering stories especially between these two major wire services, AP and UPI. And then that sort of faded, but because of the internet and social media, you can get things out so fast that speed has entered the competition again, but it also tends to lend itself to inaccurate reporting or reporting before the story has been fully vetted. And this is one of the things that happened at Kent State. There were some errors made because one of the wire services published the story before it was ready to go. Which
sadly is more commonplace even today, because now it's like we got to rush to get the story out first, and then later we find out, I guess that wasn't completely accurate.
No, it's very frustrating, and truth does matter. One of the reasons I wrote this book was because of the 50th anniversary of Kent State, which is coming up on May the 4th. And of course, it was a great national tragedy. But I also wanted to recall how a newspaper worked in 1970, the Akron Beacon-Journal, how we covered it and what our values were, and how we were wedded to the idea that we had to have a truthful account before we were ready to publish it. We held back several stories simply because we couldn't confirm them. Once we did, we published them, and many of them set the framework for the truthful account that my newspaper is now known for.
And that's the way to do it. Make sure the story's accurate first, then report it. Sadly, today it's like report it first and we'll figure it out later.
That's true.
Your book, When Truth Mattered, is about the Kent State shootings from 50 years ago. The anniversary is coming up in May. During your time at the Akron Beacon-Journal, this had to be the biggest story.
It was not only the biggest story during my time at the Beacon-Journal, it's been the biggest story in my newspaper life. And when people ask me, well, what's the biggest story you ever covered? Kent State is always at the top of the list.
So this happened 50 years ago. How long had you worked at the newspaper up until that point? And then how long were you there overall?
Well, my total time at the Beacon-Journal stretched over 17 years. I ended up as the executive editor, but I began as a suburban reporter, covering school boards and zoning boards and so on, and worked my way up through a number of other reporting beats. And I worked on the editorial page for a while. Then I went to the editing desks and became the managing editor. One of the interesting sidelights is that just before the Kent State tragedy, my senior boss said he was going to Israel with some business people from Akron, and he said to me as a parting shot, "You're in charge, don't screw it up." That was the burden I carried in his absence. I was in charge.
Well, it sounds like you did a pretty darn good job, Mr. Giles.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to chat, and the book is out right now, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. Thank you again for your time today.
Okay, well, good luck to you and your listeners, and stay safe.
Absolutely, you do the same. Again, the book is called When Truth Mattered, The Kent State Shootings 50 Years Later. I'll throw a link to make it really easy to find in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Stressed men have altered proclivities. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
2012 study published in the Journal of PLOS One. I don't know what that means. Found men who were feeling stressed out prefer women with curvier figures. The study had one experimental group perform a stressful situation, like a stressful activity, while the other controlled group did not. Afterwards, they were shown pictures of different women, different various body types. The men in the control group were asked to rate the women on a scale of 1 to 9. They rated pictures of women with higher BMIs as more attractive, like the most attractive. So that's kind of cool. So
that would explain why you're so attracted to me.
Hubba. Well, is it because I live a pretty stressful life?
Yes, we both do.
So I hope it works for women, too. Because if it does, I'm a hot dude. I'm just saying. So curvy, I'm almost round. Thanks for listening to today's Fun Fact.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Now, a news headline from somewhere in this world, Dateline, Germany. A passenger traveling on a train through Germany was caught by a ticket inspector, and they have to flash a license to show who they are, and they gave him a fake ID. It was an image of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Oh, my gosh.
They're like, wait a minute.
Like, I'm going to call BS on this one.
Don't think that's really you, considering it doesn't look like you, and it's
wow.
the president of Russia, so no. But that is kind of funny. They did that in Germany. I wonder how that went down. Well, I guess the story got out.
Yeah, it didn't go down well.
Didn't go real well. That's going to do it for your news headline from somewhere in this world.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Florida police needed 2 hours and multiple jackhammers to extricate a protester who jammed his arms inside a pair of concrete-filled 55-gallon barrels outside the governor's mansion.
Okay.
So 28-year-old Jordan Mazurek from Fort Worth, Texas, trapped himself inside this elaborately rigged barrel contraption to protest the state's handling of prisoners during the COVID outbreak. So one of these barrels had the word "Stop the Massacre." Another one had "Free Prisoners Now." Filled them with concrete, stuck his arms inside, and let it. Yeah,
that's not smart at all.
Get hard in there, hardened, whatever. So I don't know. This is because they had seen him do it to adjust his mask. The barrels were designed to prevent his arms from forcibly being removed. So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but that I should have saved that for my fake news in Florida. Not a good idea. Because you would have never believed that was true, would you? I wouldn't have, but that happened in Florida. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by InsuranceChicken.com. A California man may face charges in Arizona for intentionally coughing on a gas pump handle while referencing the spread of COVID-19. The man, identified as 23-year-old Guy from Winter Haven, they don't have his name in here, was questioned after police in Yuma received reports of a video circulating on social media showing his unsanitary deed. The suspect later admitted to coughing on the pump during an interview. He says he came in willingly and did a full interview. He admitted to the fact that yes, that is me on video. He said, I got the idea from other social media videos. He'd previously seen this on the internet, other people doing it. He blatantly coughed on the handle and said, this is how you get coronavirus, and then uploaded that to Snapchat. Charges of unlawful use of infectious biological substance, which is a felony, by the way, will now be sent to Yuma County prosecutors for review. Just don't do that. I know you guys think, oh, hey, I do this, and like everybody's going to think I'm so funny. No, nobody thinks it's funny. And I don't know why he thought it was funny. It's a terrible idea. Whether there's a virus going around or not, just don't intentionally try to get other people sick or get germs on people. Nobody wants that.
Right.
Nobody. Do something good with your life. I don't know what that would be exactly. But something. This has been today's Moment of Duh.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Peck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Time now for Fake News or Florida. This is a program, or part of the program rather, where I read a little headline here. And Heidi, my beautiful bride over here, she has to tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida? Or is it hashtag fake news made up to trick her and amuse me?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Fake news or Florida? Fort Walton Beach man was arrested for attacking a mattress because he claimed, quote, there's a man hiding inside of it.
Oh, my gosh.
End quote. Fake news or Florida?
I'm going to say Florida.
It is a true story. I wonder if there really was a man hiding in the mattress.
I doubt it.
Well, you never know, because I don't remember what the ridiculous story was. There was something where somebody had a story that was just as ridiculous, and then they found out, no, that really was what happened. I think it was somebody that was hiding in their house. They're like, there was an intruder. There was a person in the house. And everybody thought this person was crazy, and it turns out there was somebody in their attic. So they were right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There could have been a guy hiding in his mattress.
Crazy.
If there was, it wouldn't surprise me at all. This has been Fake News or Florida.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of hashtag gift card challenge. All of the details can be found at giftcardchallenge.org. This, if it's true, is one of the coolest things I've read all day.
Okay.
All week.
All right.
All month.
All right.
All year.
Okay.
Here's the headline. New Zealand claims to have eliminated coronavirus.
Okay.
What?
That would be great.
New Zealand Prime Minister has announced that COVID-19 has been completely eliminated in their country. It says with new cases in single figures now for several days, they say they've currently eliminated it with no widespread communication transition. New Zealand's Director General of Director General of Health, Ashley Bloomfield, said, the low number of new cases in recent days does give us confidence that we've achieved our goal of elimination. They warned that elimination did not mean there would be no new cases, but it did mean there would be very few new cases, and they would know where they're coming from. So they're like, there's countries allowing businesses and schools to reopen. Social distancing rules will still apply. Public venues like libraries, museums, gyms are still going to remain closed for a bit. It says that we're opening up the economy, and we're not opening up people's social lives. So they're coming back. They're just going to phase this back in, and I think that's really kind of a cool thing. So how did they do this, you might ask?
Yes.
They shut down their borders in March and forced a 2-week quarantine. So nobody could come and go, even from the country. Beaches, waterfronts, everything was shut down. They said we're a remote location. That helped play a part. Yep. And then it said they had fewer than 1,500 confirmed or probable cases and just 19 deaths, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I have a link to the story for those of you who want to spread good news on social media, because there's been a lot of bad news.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. It's been
I'm so sick of bad news. If you want to share good news, you can share a link to this. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Bye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.